Hey everybody, Donkey Storm here, and today I'm bringing you a video about Hunter Legendaries in the upcoming Shadowlands expansion. So if you don't already know, Legendaries are making a comeback in Shadowlands with a new twist. Instead of the random drop system we had in Legion, we will now be crafting Legendaries with your own desired effect. That means if your Legendary sucks, there's no one to blame but yourself. So in this video we're going to take a look at the Legendary effects for Hunters, and I'll give you my thoughts on each one. If you watch many of my videos, you've probably realized I'm somewhat of an optimist, apparently a rare thing in the WoW community. But guys, I'm not going to lie when I say I'm a bit underwhelmed by the Shadowlands Legendaries at the moment. Not much off of this long list got me too excited to jump into Torghast and start working toward it, but maybe you'll pick up on something I've missed. Before we get started, remember that if you enjoy the video, I always greatly appreciate a like and a sub in order to check out the Shadowlands content I'll be making in the future. Alright, let's do it. So let's start off with general Hunter Legendary effects. These effects can be used by any of the three Hunter specs. First off, we've got Call of the Wild. Sound familiar? It should. As in Legion, we had the legendary wrist item Call of the Wild with a very similar effect. In Shadowlands, Call of the Wild reduces the cooldown of all aspects by 25%, down from the 35% we had in Legion. It is only equipable to the wrist and finger slots. Not a particularly exciting legendary. In Legion it was a decent but not quite top tier one, and we don't have Convergence of Fates anymore. Yay. So I imagine it's going to be about the same. With BM Hunters losing Rapid Reload, the Azerite trait, maybe there will be some extra desire for this one, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next we have Legendaries Trapping Apparatus. Again, another reuse of a Legion legendary item, the Legendaries Trapping Treads. When one of your traps is triggered, you gain 25 focus. This is equipable in the waist and feet slots. Not gonna lie, can't really see a use for this one right now in PvE anyway, perhaps in PvP. If anything, this is gonna turn into a utility legendary that you probably pick up far down the line. Not gonna be one of the ones that you want to grab early on in the expansion. Alright, how about something new? Next up we have Soulforge Embers, with which launching a flare into your tar pit trap causes all enemies inside to burn for 900% attack power fire damage, and this is equipable in the head or shoulder slot. Now, obviously I haven't seen a DPS chart of this yet, but can this please be a go-to for AoE damage? Holy cow, this sounds like a really unique and awesome idea. I'd love to light up a big trash pack of mobs in Mythic Plus with this bad boy. Props to Blizzard for originality here. It's a really great idea, and I hope it has the damage to back it up. I feel like this is the kind of legendary that the people want. It has a really cool interaction with your abilities. It's unique. We haven't seen it before. This is definitely one of my favorites on the Hunter list. Rounding out the general legendaries is Craven Stratagem. This reduces the Feign Death cooldown by 15 seconds and causes it to remove all status effects on your character, equipable in your neck or chest slot. Sounds like it might be really good for PvP. From a PvE standpoint, maybe a utility legendary you pick up for a tough progression fight somewhere down the line, but again, probably not the one you're going to be starting off the expansion with. Alright, let's get into some of the spec-specific legendaries, starting with Beast Mastery. First up, we've got Dire Command. This is a rework of the Dire Consequences Azerite trait that made Kill Command summon a Dire Beast. With Dire Command as a legendary, Kill Command now has a 10% chance to summon a Dire Beast. Dire Consequences was a pretty meh Azerite trait, so I'm actually a bit surprised to see it reworked into a legendary. If Dire Beast becomes a go-to because of a new interaction with talents and abilities, maybe this one will turn out to be more effective than I think. We'll have to see if that Zoo playstyle makes a return to know if this is going to become a go-to legendary. This item is equipable in the chest or finger slots, by the way. I think something to keep in mind here is just a 10% chance to summon a Dire Beast is a pretty low chance, so we'll have to test this out and see if it is truly impactful. Okay, next on the BM list we've got a new effect, Flamewalker's Cobra Sting. This effect causes Cobra Shot to have a 10% chance to make the next kill command cost no focus, and it's equipable in the leg and feet slots. I can definitely see this as a DPS increase, but probably not a game changer, as 10% is such a low chance for something to happen, especially with the next item we're about to go over, which I imagine is just going to interact with kill command in a more effective way. But with that extra focus, you should be able to squeeze in some more abilities that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to squeeze into your rotation. So with that said, let's look at that legendary effect. It's none other than, and excuse my pronunciation here if it's wrong, Quapla Eridun War Order, back from Legion, which reduces the cooldown of kill command by 4 seconds, up from 3, equipable in the shoulder and hand slots. Kill command has always been BM's big single target DPS ability, and Quapla was one of the best single target legendaries back in Legion, so I imagine that for BM hunters this is going to be close to the top of the list for legendaries to pick up. Comparing it to Flamewalker's Cobra Sting, I just don't see how this one isn't simply better. Finally, wrapping up the BM legendary effects is Raptor Stalker's Piercing Fangs. This effect increases your pet's critical damage by 30% when Bestial Wrath is active. So a pet's crit chance depends on your own critical strike rating, which makes this an intriguing legendary. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those legendaries that finds increased usefulness later in the expansion when our stats start to scale up a lot. But it's hard to make a case for it in the beginning of an expansion as a legendary. And it's equipable in the feet and back slots. So honest opinion from a lover of the BM spec, these look kind of boring, and I think the obvious go-to is probably Quapla, one we've already had before in Legion. I find that to be a little disappointing. Nothing here makes me jump out of my seat. I kind of wish that Flamewalkers would be replaced by something a little more interesting than just another modifier to kill command. Alright, next up, let's check out the Marksmanship Hunter legendaries. So first off, we've got the Eagle Talon's True Focus, which reduces all the focus costs of your abilities by 30% during True Shot. This is equipable in the head and waist slot and a rework of the Hunter Tier 19 4-piece bonus. Nothing too groundbreaking here, just making your big cooldown even more potent. Definitely not a bad thing, and quite possibly this is going to be the best single target legendary on the MM list, making our big burst window even burstier. Alright, next we've got Surging Shots. This effect causes rapid fire to deal 15% additional damage, and also makes aimed shot have a 15% chance, again a rather low chance, to reset the rapid fire cooldown. This is equipable in the neck and wrist slots. Rapid fire isn't a huge DPS ability, and while this actually sounds like it might be a fun legendary to play with from a rotation standpoint, I have a feeling that it's going to be outclassed DPS-wise by some of the other effects on the list. Next up, we've got Serpent Stalker's Trickery. When aim shot hits multiple targets from the trick shot effect, 3 enemies also get hit with Arcane Shot. Okay, an AoE DPS increase here for sure, but Arcane Shot doesn't exactly break the damage meters. I would imagine that the much cooler sounding Soulforge Embers would be a better AoE choice. I guess DPS numbers and testing will tell for sure, but I'm rooting for Soulforge Embers, which sounds like a ton more fun than this thing. Finally, to wrap up Marksmanship, we've got Secrets of the Unblinking Vigil. This effect gives you a 50%, finally a higher percentage, chance to not lose your trick shots buff when you use it. Equipable in wrist and hand slot. So we have some more AoE here, and my thoughts remain kind of the same. I really want to use Soul Embers, but this one does sound a bit cooler than Serpent Stalkers. However, and it's nice to have something that's finally we're going to benefit from more often with the 50% chance to proc. Seems like a solid legendary here. So final MM thoughts. It sounds like MM's got a little bit more going for it in the legendary department than Beast Mastery does. I think Unblinking Vigil sounds like it could be really cool. I'd predict that Eagle Talons is going to make for some really high DPS windows. I'm not really blown away by any of these, but they do interest me a little bit more than what I saw from the Beast Mastery legendaries. Alright, finally on to the survival legendaries. I have to admit, folks, I haven't played survival in quite a while, and I haven't looked into it too much in Shadowlands yet. It's the only hunter spec I have yet to do a video on. We all know it's a spec that needs a lot of love, and I really hope that it gets it. So I'll be showing you the survival legendaries, but I'll greatly appreciate any opinions from the comment section about survival. With that said, let's take a look. First off, we've got Wildfire Cluster, which causes Wildfire Bomb to drop a cluster of bombs around the target that deal fire damage. What's this? A legendary that affects its main ability 100% of the time? Nice. Could be a real nice, dependable AoE legendary with a cool effect, so well done here. Next we've got Raptor Stalker's Confounding Strikes, which gives Raptor Strike a 10% chance to reset the cooldown on Wildfire Bomb. And we're back to 10% chances again. Wildfire Bomb has an 18-second cooldown, which isn't incredibly long, and a 10% proc chance doesn't sound like it's going to be adding a whole lot of DPS to your kit. Okay, next up for survival is Latent Poison Injectors, with which Serpent Sting's damage applies Latent Poison, which stacks up to 10 times. Then Raptor Strike consumes Latent Poison, dealing nature damage depending on the number of stacks. Interesting. This could possibly cause you to delay Raptor Strike a bit to let the charges stack up depending on how things sim. I'm always a fan of legendaries that mix up the standard rotation a bit, so I'll reserve judgment on this one until we see some damage numbers from Latent Poison. Finally, we've got Butcher's Bone Fragments, with which Raptor Strike increases the damage of your next carve by, say it with me, 10%, stacking up to 10 times. So I guess you'll want to save up charges of this and then unleash a gigantic carve. Carve is on a 6-second cooldown, so you'd probably need to delay it quite a bit to get the full usage out of this, but I guess it could make for some big fun AoE damage, just not very consistent. So like I said, I'm far from a survival expert, but some of the survival legendaries sound pretty interesting. At the very least, a little bit more consistently impactful. Overall, I'm a little bit less than impressed by Hunter Legendaries. There are a ton of low percentage proc chances, not much that will really affect the way that you're going to play your character. They feel very safe and a bit bland, with the only one standing out to me being Soulfire Embers, which sounds awesome. But I'd love to know what you think. Please leave your opinions and comments in the comments section, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. Even throw me a subscription to see more Shadowlands content coming down the road. Until then, this has been Donkey Storm, and thanks for watching.